From the bayous of Louisiana to the beaches of Normandy and the Pacific atolls, the Higgins boat became the humble, hard-working symbol of amphibious warfare. This post explores where it came from, how it worked, and why a simple ramp on a plywood hull helped reshape the course of the war. Andrew Higgins is the man who won the war for us, often attributed to Gen. Dwight D. Eisenhower. What was a Higgins boat? The nickname usually refers to the LCVP landing craft, vehicle, personnel designed by Andrew Jackson Higgins of New Orleans. Rugged, cheap, and fast to build, the LCVP could carry a platoon of 36 fully equipped troops, or a jeep and supplies, right onto hostile shores. Its defining feature was a drop-down bow ramp. Run up onto the sand, drop the ramp, and go. LCVP at a glance. Spec details: role, landing craft, vehicle, personnel, LCVP, designer, builder Andrew J. Higgins. Bayou routes, global impact. Higgins didn't set out to revolutionize warfare. He built shallow draft workboats for the swampy, log-choked waters of the Gulf Coast. His Eureka design used a tough, flared hull that could skim in inches of water, slide over obstacles, and back off quickly. Marines noticed. Early tests in the late 1930s led to the LCPL landing craft personnel. Large, which had cutouts in the bow, but no ramp. Troops had to jump over the sides under fire. Photos of Japanese landing craft with bow ramps in China convinced US planners what they needed. Higgins adapted his boat with a steel drop-down ramp. The LCVP was born. How the Higgins boat worked in an assault staging. LCVPs were lowered from transports and assembled into waves, guided by control craft. Run-in coxswains threaded through surf, smoke, and obstacles, often under fire, to the designated beach sector. Stern anchor. Many boats dropped a small stern anchor on approach so they could winch off the sand after unloading. Ramp down. In the last few yards, the coxswain gunned forward, beached, and the bowman released the ramp. 36 soldiers hit the sand in seconds. Back out and repeat. The crew hauled in on the stern line, backed off, and turned to shuttle the next load. It was brutal, wet, noisy work. The LCVP offered little protection: some steel around the gun positions and a steel ramp at speed. Surprise and volume were the real defenses. D-Day, the Pacific, and everywhere in between. Europe. On the 6th of June 1944, Higgins boats were the silhouette of the first waves at Normandy. They'd already cut their teeth in North Africa. Torch, 1942, Sicily, and Salerno, 1943, and would continue into southern France. Dragoon, 1944, Pacific. From Guadalcanal to Iwo Jima and Okinawa, LCVPs shuttled marines and supplies across reef-fringed beaches. At Tarawa, 1943, coral shelves stranded many LCVPs in the surf. An object lesson that spurred greater use of tracked amphibians, LVTs, for the very first waves in the Pacific. Wherever the Allies needed a beachhead, chances are a Higgins boat touched the sand first. Built for war and built by everyone, Higgins Industries scaled up to multiple plants and tens of thousands of workers at peak, producing landing craft by the tens of thousands with assembly line methods and wooden jigs. Notably, Higgins ran one of the most integrated wartime workforces in the American South. Black and white men and women worked and trained together because what mattered most was getting boats out the door. Why wood, plywood, and timber framing were cheap, light, and quick to work with. Damaged sections could be repaired in the field, and precious steel was conserved for ships, tanks, and aircraft. Strengths and trade-offs. What it did brilliantly: shallow draft, run right onto the beach and back off again. Ramp, rapid, orderly offloading, vital under fire. Simplicity, fast to build, easy to maintain, tolerant of rough handling. Versatility, troops, jeeps, ammo, water, whatever a beachhead needed. What it couldn't do. Protection. Minimal armor meant vulnerability to small arms and shrapnel. Heavy seas, reefs, surf, and coral could stymie approaches. Tracked LVTs often led the very first waves in the Pacific. Heavy vehicles for tanks and big trucks. Larger craft like LCMIs, LCTs, and LSTs were required. Family and cousins. More than one Higgins boat. Higgins boat is shorthand for the LCVP, but the family was large. LCP. L early personnel craft with bow cutouts, no ramp. LCM-3 and LCM-6. Larger mechanized craft carrying a 30-ton tank or heavy cargo. British LCA, a lower, more armored counterpart used widely by British and Commonwealth forces. LCT, LST, much bigger landing craft and ships for tanks, trucks, and bulk cargo, part of the same ramp-forward amphibious concept the LCVP popularized. Legacy: the Boweramp landing craft made amphibious assault scalable. It turned transports into feeders, beaches into piers, and logistics into a tide. From modern LCUS and LCMS to civilian roll and roll-off ferries, the DNA of the Higgins boat is everywhere. And that Eisenhower line, "The man who won the war for us," captures the truth. Strategy needs tools. Without a reliable way to put combat power onto enemy shores, Allied plans remain plans. Where to see one today? The National World War II Museum, New Orleans, USA. Home turf for Higgins. Exhibits and an LCVP on display. The D-Day Story, Portsmouth, UK. Amphibious landing craft collection tied to Operation Neptune. Many U.S. naval ship museums, for example, USS Alabama, USS North Carolina, USS Lexington, display LCVPs aboard or dock. Check museum sites for current exhibits and restoration status. Further reading: Jerry E. Strahan, Andrew Jackson Higgins and the Boats That Won World War II. Craig L. Simmons, Neptune, the Allied Invasion of Europe and the D-Day Landings. Official U.S. Navy Bureau of Ships Wartime Manuals on Landing Craft. Archival PDFs available via Naval History repositories. Want this adapted for a classroom handout, a shorter social post, or a more technical deep dive with diagrams and timelines? Tell me the audience and length you're after, and I'll tailor it.